The Indiana Pacers have stunned everyone, making their second straight Eastern Conference Finals. They had a slow start to the season, but they went on a second half surge. And honestly, they had some pretty ideal playoff matchups. They once again matched up with Milwaukee, this time in the first round, and beat them out 4-1. Milwaukee once again struggled with some injuries. Damian Lillard obviously tore his Achilles, but then they matched up in the Cavs in the second round, and they beat them pretty handily 4-1. This is a 64-win Cavs team. They started the season, I believe, 15 or 16-0, something like that. And obviously, they dealt with some injuries too, but for the Pacers to come in and beat both Giannis and Dame, and then go in and beat a 64-win Cavs team, this team is legit. The fact that they've now made 2 straight Eastern Conference Finals, having under 50 wins in both of those seasons with 47 wins and I believe 48 wins with this 2025 season is absolutely insane. And the way they've done it has been super entertaining. It's been fun to watch, and I love watching this team. Honestly, as a Warriors fan, obviously, we just got eliminated, but I would love to see the Pacers win it all at the moment. They're obviously one of the lower seeds still in it. Obviously, the Timberwolves, right, the 6th seed, but with the Pacers, right, like I said, having under 50 wins, having the collection of guys they do, they play a really fun brand of basketball. I would love to see them win it all. It would be awesome to see Tyrese and Siakam. Obviously, for Siakam, that would be his second ring. But yeah, this Pacers team, kind of want to dive into this group a little bit. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So, Halliburton got going late in the season, and he really was able to control the game in every way versus both the Bucks and the Cavs. He controlled the pace. He was really dominant just with his IQ, always seeming to make the right play. And sure, there were some games where, right, he didn't really necessarily have it going offensively. You know, he struggled from 3. He struggled to kind of create his own shot and create for others. But overall, if you look at kind of the body of work that he put together over these first 2 series, it was awesome, right? Like when he was going from 3, this Pacers team was pretty much unstoppable. And even with Siakam, right, he's a great second option or go-to guy down the stretch since, you know, Tyrese, he's kind of more of a pass-first point guard. He's really kind of got the keys to this Pacers offense. He's kind of the engine that makes this whole team go. So for him, he's always looking to create for others, right? How can I set guys up? How can I get guys open? You know, how can I kind of set everything up in the perfect way to, let's say, get Siakam an open look, get Aaron Nesmith an open 3, get Miles Turner an open 3, right? So this is kind of how Tyrese seems to be operating. And of course, right, he's going to look for his own shot sometimes, but majority of the times, he's going to be a pass-first point guard. And that's why Siakam, man, he was the perfect addition a year ago at the trade deadline. He's the perfect secondary scorer that they needed. And on top of that, right, he's a vet. He's around like 30 years old. He's been around a while. He won a championship in 2019 with Kawhi, and he was the second option on that Raptors team. So having a guy like Siakam that can not only, you know, keep the team stable, right, but also just offensively. If you don't have anything going, he's got a really great post game. And just obviously Siakam is a great two-way player, right? His versatility defensively, the leadership he brings. So really all those intangibles as well. But having kind of Tyrese and Siakam as your 1-2 punch, right? You know, maybe they both don't average, let's say, right, like 25 a game. But the fact that you can rely on these guys both down the stretch to create their own shots, create for others, and they do it efficiently and consistently, that's what really separates this Pacers team. Because overall with their scoring, the Pacers are very kind of committee oriented, right? There's a lot of guys that average double-digit points. There's a lot of guys that average double-digit minutes. And it's a very kind of team-oriented, you know, scoring approach. Not saying that other teams don't have that, but their scoring is very balanced compared to maybe other, you know, top-heavy teams, let's say like the Nuggets, for example, right? Or even like the Warriors with Steph and Jimmy. So they play a different brand of basketball, but it works, right? And having Siakam and Tyrese both go-to guys down the stretch. And even then you have other guys that can create their own shots, whether it's Benedict Mathurin, whether it's, you know, TJ McConnell. He's been a perfect backup point guard for this team. So let's get into some of the other guys. But Andrew Nembhard's defense, I gotta give him a shout out because I believe I saw he was like Eastern Conference Defensive Player of the Month, either for March or April, something like that. But his defense is out of this world. I mean, he's obviously like not the tallest point guard, right? Around 6'3". Man, his effort and intensity on that end, I mean, let's just say it's going to be very tough to score against Andrew Nembhard. And on top of that, he's a pretty good high IQ offensive player. He was a point guard in college, played for Gonzaga. He can create his own shot really well. And he's made a lot of timely threes over the past year or so for the Pacers. He seems to come up in a lot of the clutchest moments. And this is what I mean when it's the scoring by committee, right? It's not just Tyrese and Siakam. You have role players like Andrew Nembhard that can step up when needed. He's a guy that honestly, I think if he was running his own team, he could be a really, really good NBA point guard. Probably a guy who could average 15 to 20 points and around 7 to 8 assists, you know, if he was the point guard on his own team, to be honest with you. And I think he can still develop into that guy in Indiana. Like I said, with the system that they run, it's very unselfish. Obviously, Tyrese kind of has the keys to that offense, but the Pacers have a very optimal offensive and defensive system for guys like Nembhard, to succeed. And I'm sure Andrew Nembhard, maybe he will become an all-star one day, but I really like him as a player, right? His 3-and-D ability at that point guard position is really helpful. He's perfect next to Tyrese Halliburton because he can play on the ball or off the ball. But I want to give him a shout out, man, because like I said, his defense is next level, but on top of that, his offense is extremely underrated, and he's come up clutch in some of the biggest moments for the Pacers over the past year. And I think another big thing too for the Pacers, having Bennedict Mathurin healthy has been extremely key, because I think people forget last year, he missed their entire playoff run, and there's a reason he was the number 6 pick in the draft, right? Like, this guy is an elite scorer. He's got great size at the shooting guard, small forward position, and he's really developing well as a scorer, and he's been a great six-man for this team, since his rookie season. I think missing him last year, I think he was kind of the scoring punch they may have needed more against the Celtics, because obviously the Celtics, they were just dominant all of last year, but I think the Pacers could have made that a bit more of a competitive series had Bennedict Mathurin been healthy, because of what he provides them on both ends of the court, his energy, his intensity, his competitiveness, and I think it's really going to make a difference whoever the Pacers play in the conference finals. Most likely that will probably be the Knicks. Who knows, maybe that will change by the time I upload this video, but yeah, at the same time, right, like, having Bennedict Mathurin healthy, that's been super key for this team. And like I say, just brings that level of competitiveness, intensity, and just that scoring punch off the bench that I think the Pacers could really use. Because I think you can rely on him as kind of that third scorer, outside of Tyrese and Siakam. And I think he could potentially develop into an all-star player one day, the more opportunity he gets with this team. But yeah, definitely, he's the underrated part of this group, and it's great the Pacers finally have him healthy for this playoff run. Then we get to Miles Turner. He's the longest reigning member of the Indiana Pacers, right? His rookie year in 2015-2016, they made the playoffs, lost in 7 games versus the Raptors. And you think about his progression as a player too. He's really developed into a solid all-around scorer. Obviously, he's always been one of the best defensive centers in the NBA. Obviously an elite shot blocker, but his offensive game, right, with his three-point shooting and just his overall game has developed really well. And now he's kind of, the leader on this Pacers team, being that this is, now his 10th year in the league, which is like crazy to say, but Miles Turner, he is a perfect fit for this team. And the Pacers, by the way, another thing, they did a really good job of re-signing all their core players from last year to have these guys now under contract. But yeah, now we get to Aaron Nesmith. I mean, he's the ideal 3-and-D wing for this group. Obviously, maybe in an ideal world, Bennedict Mathurin, could start going forward or even next year. And I think Bennedict Mathurin did start towards the beginning of the season. But Aaron Nesmith, man, his athleticism, his timely shooting as well, and his defense has been so crucial for this group. And this Pacers squad, they really don't have many weaknesses, maybe besides, continuous improvement defensively, which defense for them, not really something they ranked high in 2024. In 2025, they definitely improved in that, but they still weren't kind of a top defensive team. But in this playoffs, their defensive game plan against Giannis and the Bucks and just shutting down this whole Cavs offense, which I believe the Cavs offense, they were one of the best offenses in NBA history. They were the number 1 ranked this season. But yeah, this Pacers squad, if they continue to improve defensively, and of course, Tyrese and Siakam, maybe they're not, let's say, like true number 1 options in the sense that they average, 25 a game, kind of like I was saying earlier in this video, but they're extremely reliable down the stretch and in the clutch. And I think that's the key thing for the Pacers, right? You have a couple guys who you can go to down the stretch, but, I wouldn't say Tyrese and Siakam, right? They're both kind of not clear number 1s. They both kind of take on that scoring load equally, but I think as long as the Pacers continue to improve defensively, and let's say Siakam or Tyrese continue to break out, right, maybe one of them will average 23 to 25 a game even next season, and even so, even if they don't, right, like I think this team this year has a realistic shot of winning the championship. But here's kind of the one terrifying thing, and kind of why the Pacers are even scarier than you think. This team is extremely young, right? Tyrese Halliburton, he's under 25 years old. He's already a guy who averages 20 points and around 10 assists. Bennedict Mathurin, right? He's still super young, developing as a scorer. Andrew Nembhard, a young player. Aaron Nesmith, right? This core is super young, and obviously you kind of got the vets on this team with Siakam and Turner that kind of provide that perfect balance, but this team is still young. They have great chemistry. They have a championship coach in Rick Carlisle. They got a perfect backup point guard in TJ McConnell, and they got some great vets. Obviously, I haven't even mentioned James Johnson. He's been an excellent vet for this team. But man, this Pacers team, they got their core players signed. Everybody's roles are defined. There's a lot of buy-in with this group. You got a championship head coach. Man, this Pacers team could be a legitimate championship contender and at least make the Eastern Conference Finals for, many, many years to come, barring any health issues. So that's why I want to talk about the Pacers. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do the Pacers have a realistic shot of winning the 2025 NBA championship? But want to shout them out because I think they've gone extremely underrated this year. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.